Hello folks, it's Chris in Arena Studio. I've not been on for a while. I've been ridiculously busy, which is not a bad thing. I'm not complaining. I'm always busy in the studio, which is nice. But welcome back folks. Hopefully you're going to enjoy this little short video for you. And it's a great tip this for when you're learning to improve guitar or anything else, any other instrument, any skill that you're trying to get good at. Especially I use this technique all the time with the students when I'm working with guitar students. So here's the deal. This is a really strange thing that I'm going to say to you now. I'm going to say a very famous English tongue twister. Now stick with this video because you're going to see how this has a huge impact on your guitar skills and your progress. Okay, so the tongue twister is really quite weird. It just goes like this: red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry. Okay, now what the hell has this got to do with playing the guitar? Okay, well let me explain something to you, that when we learn something and we're trying to use skills, as in marry up left and right hands together to create one unison, one skill with them, well, it's very difficult to do. So I use this example of this red lorry, yellow lorry, and the reason why is when I say to anybody, just say to me red lorry, yellow lorry, they'll go red lorry, yellow lorry, blah, 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 and it all comes out wrong. Now if they cannot speak anything quicker that's difficult, how do they expect to be able to physically perform something that's difficult? So this is where we all practice too fast at first. Now I'm not saying that you don't practice quick or up the tempo of metronomes and things, but my point with this whole exercise is to make sure that you start to practice at the correct tempo, which then means that you learn it quicker, which means you can then implement the speed as you're going along. Okay, so for me, if I was to work on the red lorry, yellow lorry side of my practice, it would be a nice perfect tempo where I'm making no mistakes. You've probably seen me say this on lots of videos before, that only ever practice at the pace that you can play it perfectly. So you try and say red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, and then if you try and do it quicker, red lorry, yellow lorry, you're into the realms of where your fingers and your mind can't keep up. They can't stay locked together. So the brain then adds the information in that it thinks you want to achieve, which is mistakes and errors and flaws. And what you have to do as a guitar player is then go back to the red lorry, yellow lorry. So if you can't say something like that, you know, how do you expect to play quick and everything synchronized together, especially if you're working on shred runs and rock runs or scalar riffs and licks? So really all I do with a lot of the students is just say to them, right, are you in the red lorry, yellow lorry zone, or are you in the red lorry, yellow lorry zone? You know, because if you are, you're adding those mistakes, which is literally what happens when we try the tongue twister verbally fast. So it's a really simple but kind of pretty obvious way to look at things, but unfortunately we don't when we're learning. We try and just play everything as fast as we can and think that all these mistakes are going to disappear. They don't, because you stay permanent in the red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry zone, and you have to make sure it gets better by sticking in the red lorry, yellow lorry zone until you've got it mastered. Now for me, I could probably try and work on the red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry. So with practice, you could probably even build something like that up quite quickly. It's just making sure that what you do is accurate and controlled and mistake free. Try it, just pull everything back and think about the accuracy of what you're aiming for when you're playing. You're trying to do something that's a very precise skill when you're trying to fret perfectly and accurately and not miss the strings when you're picking. And I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to be in the super fast red lorry, yellow lorry brigade. And you need to see, I even said brigade then, didn't I? So it just goes to show that speed creates errors and you have to master these techniques without any errors in. Okay, so it's a really simple thing. Just pick up the guitar and think to yourself, am I red lorry, yellow lorry while I'm practicing this? And if you are, then you're in a good zone. And then gradually increase the speed and you'll get there and it'll work and it's great, and you'll suddenly see how everything starts to tighten up. Less mistakes means faster progress. No mistakes means warp speed progress. So that's the world that you should be looking at, is making sure that you practice constantly in this red lorry, yellow lorry zone. Sometimes it'll be a bit quicker, sometimes it'll be a bit slower, but make sure that you're constantly playing error-free. And think about the accuracy of the pick. How much pick movement? Do you really need that much movement? Can you just have it where you just basically, like I tend to pick like this, where I'm just touching either side of the string? My pick tends to stay pretty close contact with the string, whereas most people are doing this kind of thing. Well, all this up here and all this down here is causing the opportunity to create a mistake or miss the string, whereas when you're there, you've created a more economic and accurate approach to picking. So think about all these things, and think about the speed constantly of what you're doing, and I'm sure you're going to make huge progress down that route. Thanks for watching. It's been a short one, but hopefully it's been a good one. Please give me some comments below and like and subscribe. It makes my day. For me, Chris, stay safe, stay well, and keep on rocking in the free world.